Okay, so I guess today I am just surrounded with beautiful, amazing, and powerhouses of women. And I have here one other leading voice in the iGaming sector, and none other than Olafadeke Akeju. She's the she's the managing partner WYS Solicitor. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Zini.
How do you feel being here? This is the maiden edition, so
Yes, it's an amazing addition, and I'm really, really glad that we're having an African-wide expo organized for Africa by Africans, unlike other expos, exhibitions, summits, and conferences that we find on the continent. So this really, gladdens my heart.
I think this year's summit is basically factored and centered around regulators and regulating the iGaming sector or the gambling sector. There has been need for conversations like this over the years. When we go to other summits and other exhibitions, we have just a fraction of regulators or conversation about regulating this aspects of the iGaming sector. But today we are having it in a large environment, and then a lot of conversations around it for this expo. So what is the need for having summits like this that factors and centers around regulating the iGaming sector?
Right. It's actually very important. And like you rightly observed, most conferences, seminars, and events are more operator centric or other stakeholder centric. It's a platform for operators to meet with vendors and technical providers in the industry. However, we downplay, the importance of the regulator without understanding that regulators are key to the point that they could come up with legislations, laws, policies that could hinder the performance of operators. It's very important that regulators are given a platform to express, to share their thoughts, their opinions, and to also take in the opinion and operators of other stakeholders in the industry. It's actually long overdue. And just anchoring the session with the regulators from the various regions of Africa, it was very enlightening to see that as much as each country on the continent is different, there are lots of similarities as well. And then they have common issues, which means that collaboration would help. And we could also start to consider harmonization of some of the requirements, policies, guidelines to ensure that not only is each country safe, but the African continent as a whole, the gaming industry, is, safe, secure, and sustainable for the long term.
I have to ask this because we are in the International Women's Month. That is how I like to see May. I don't how I like to see March to April to May. Come on, we gotta have it. We gotta have it. It's all about the women. But then let's bring it to our sector, which is the gaming sector. We all know it is a male-dominated industry with only few, sprinkled here and there, female voices. And then we have leading voices like yours. A lot of women want to come into the sector, but they do not understand what part can I participate in. I am not a gambler, I'm not a bettor, I'm not an operator. I don't know these things, but I have some other professional practices. So how can women contribute more into the, iGaming sector?
Okay. Yes, you are very correct that this is a male-dominated industry. However, that has changed over the years. There are quite a number of women, not as much as the male population, but there are a number of women in the industry. To mark the International Women's Month, what we did at Select Africa was to have a session with women professionals who are in regulation, in legal advisory services, and also in operation. But we're also aware when we started putting together that program, we realized that we had agents, people who were retailers, who owned retail chains, and there were women as well who are not necessarily professionals working, in regulation and operation, but who are at the back end as well. We have women in the tech sector as well. So it's not that there's a lack of women. Yeah, it is that we've not put the spotlight on them. enough. And that's something that probably, we should start to do a little bit more on. So we would also be doing that, talking to those who are behind the camera, who are not professionals, who are not necessarily thought leaders, but who are quite significant and play a role in the growth of the gaming industry. So yes, that's I'll leave it at that.
All right, so this is day one, or will I say day two? Technically, day two of the summit. So we still have about 2 more days to go, 3 more days to go. So it means there's still a whole lot more to come. There are a whole lot of conversations to be had around the iGaming sector. What do you expect to be your take home at the end of the summit? And what should every other person that has attended this year's summit, what should they be expecting to take home after the summit?
I think from this event, one thing that is sure to happen is a collaboration amongst the regulators. Before now, every regulator operated within their niche, within their jurisdiction. But now we find out that there is an association of African regulators coming up. We had one previously, but for some reason it didn't work and it wasn't Pan-African. Today we had people from French-speaking regions, and then Anglophone countries and Francophone countries. So that's a delight to see. It creates a platform for also those who are interested in Pan-African operation in multiple African countries, to know the regulators, get to know them, understand the perspective and the differences, the similarities in all of this jurisdiction, understand their market, and make efforts to go into those markets. That's on the operator's side. There are vendors here exhibiting as well. It is our hope that they understand some of the challenges that are peculiar to the African market and that they're able to take that feedback, go back, and then provide products, services that are suited for the African market. So.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate having you at iGaming Africa. Have a lovely time.
And you.